This sign here indicates that this is a pool draft hydrant system exclusive to the use of the Los Angeles County Fire Department or any other jurisdictional department coming in to help us during a wildland fire. This indicates to us that this property, new pool under construction, has been equipped with a pool draft hydrant system that allows us to draw water directly out of the pool in the event that we have a wildland fire and our domestic hydrant system is incapable of providing the adequate amount of water we need for mitigation of the fire or structure protection in this area. This one is exactly how it would be expected in the fire code. It's the proper size hydrant with the proper size piping. It has a proper signage on it indicating that this is that type of hydrant with the gallonage available to us. And it is pre-plumbed into a pool here on the property that allows for us to draw that water out to put into our fire engine to fight fire with. This is what we call a wharf style hydrant. So just by the size of the hydrant you can see that it has a limitation on its maximum fire flow. Two things there. There's a minimum number of gallons per minute you're supposed to be able to get out of a domestic hydrant in an area like this for residential firefighting. The problems that we have in these areas during wildland fires is the domestic water supply is drawn down very quickly by the residents putting water onto their roofs or their yards or other things around their property to try to help prevent the fire from burning their property. In reality, most of that water is being wasted. So as the tanks are being drawn down, when we come in to do our job, we don't have an available source of water. Additionally, during high winds and fire activity, power lines are knocked down, blown down, or burned down. When they burn down, the pumps can't activate to refill the tanks. Refill takes a long time anyways. It takes hours. So when the tanks draw down and the pumps are out of service, we don't have any water coming out of these domestic hydrants. So we depend on other auxiliary sources of water, one being a pool draft system, a swimming pool on the property we can go onto and use an eductor to remove water from, or a standalone tank, 5,000 gallons capacity or greater, that's hooked into a hydrant that we can draw water out of to refill the engine or actually use for a direct fire attack on a structure fire. This was as a result of the disastrous 1993 Kinaloa, Altadena, and Malibu fires. Sometime after that, there was a determination made that they need to look at providing auxiliary water sources. After August 13, 1995, the Los Angeles County Fire Department, along with the Board of Supervisors, adopted a change in the fire code regulations relative to existing swimming pools and new construction swimming pools in residential areas. So from 1995 on, August of 95 on, any new pool constructed in high fire zone areas are required to have this draft hydrant system in place. Every other pool or spa that's 5,000 gallons or greater that's existing, they're required to have signage at the address side of the house indicating that there is a water source available there. They're not required to retrofit this system in, they're just required to advise us through signage that on that property there's either a spa or a pool that has 5,000 gallons or greater of an auxiliary water source available for us to draw water out of in the event of a wildfire. Well, if you look at this, if you break it down cost analysis wise, it's a small amount of money to pay up front from an insurance standpoint to insure against the possible loss of your home. We all know that all homes are insured for their loss. We also know that there's things inside of a home that even though furniture can be replaced, there's a lot of items that are lost in the fire that can never be replaced. So to eliminate the possibility of people going through that type of a trauma, these types of additions to their property to make us be able to do our job better, more efficiently, and more safely is a real benefit to the homeowner. And even though there's an upfront cost involved, when you spread that over the life of the homeowner or the living in that residence, it's a very, very small amount of money to provide them a lot of safety and security. This auxiliary water source that this individual resident's providing to us, we're also going to be using to protect all of the homeowners in the area, in addition to use to fight the fire in the watershed area. So it's for the environment, it's for the community as a whole, it's for the neighborhood residents as a whole. So it does bring people together as a sense of community and provide that protection for everybody that's in this area. Again, the portable pump, there's a variable there. If it's a homeowner-owned portable pump, with any pump or motorized apparatus or piece of equipment, there's some maintenance involved. You know, we check our stuff daily. Highly unlikely the person, a resident, is going to check his pump daily. It may work, it may not work. This is a in-place, 365 days out of the year, 24/7 system that's available for our use and has really virtually no moving parts with the exception of this stem that opens the valve inside this hydrant. So we can come and hook up to it instantly, very quickly, and draw a significant amount of water out. The eductor that we carry, the evolution takes a few more minutes. It does require us to stretch hose at least 150 feet to the water source and then back again into our pump. So there is just a little bit more time and effort involved to do that. Plus, the amount of water we can draw out of that eductor is only between 60 or 80 and 120 gallons per minute. This one we can get up to about 500 gallons per minute, which is a significant amount of water when you're fighting a fire of the kind of magnitude that we see during wind-driven brush fires in the Malibus. We would like to see more of these in the area. So a combination of these auxiliary water sources along with homeowners being very, very diligent about brush hazard abatement and clearance, creating a defensible space around their properties, fire-resistant construction, eliminating the hazards of materials around their house that could combust very easily and spread to the house. All those things coupled with an awareness and the cooperation of the fire department, it makes our job very, very easy to save lives and protect the property during these wind-driven fires that historically happen about every 10 years and will always happen as long as there is brush on the ground. Well, I would applaud and honor any homeowner that wants to put himself at great risk to protect what's his. We try to assist those people as much as possible and encourage that if they do go on such an endeavor, that they keep some safety in mind. One of them that we like to tell people to do is dress appropriately for that. They don't want to be caught out in their yard when a blast of hot air or fire comes up the back of their property and catches them in slaps and shorts. They should be dressed with a long sleeve cotton type shirt, generally Levi's, have their head protected, wear gloves, and using water very sparingly. Putting water on their lawn, on their roof, on the patio is really not going to do much good during a wind, low humidity, high wind condition. They really need to think about removing hazards away from the house like wood piles, plastic furniture, drawing the blinds inside their house, closing up any openings they can, closing over the openings on the gable vents and attics. Also preparing themselves to shelter in place should the fire start. Once the fire comes through the area and blows over the house, then they can come outside, use that hose and that water very sparingly to put out any spot fires around their property. By doing that and compound that by 50, 100, or 1,000 residents, that leaves us more water in the tanks domestically available to us in the hydrant system for us to come in and do some very real active firefighting for those folks. If everybody just wastes water like that, we're going to run out of water very quickly. We won't have water, and even worse than that, the person that stayed and sheltered in place is not going to have any water to put out the spot fires in his house now that the fires actually come through. Well, we've got a pool here that's obviously greater than 5,000 gallons. That's the minimum requirement. And as indicated by the sign on the street, it's a 29,000 gallon pool. This gentleman here has doubled the ability or capacity for us to be able to draw water from his system. Next to the hydrant out there is another hydrant just like the one next to it. And as you can see here, he has 2 drains in place and 2 pipes leading out of the pool. The minimum requirement has been met here and doubled. That is, it has to be a 6-inch opening in the bottom of the pool, completely separate from the plumbing of the pool itself. It has to have a grate over to protect any debris from entering the system. The pipe has to be a minimum of 4 inches, Schedule 40 pipe. It can be plastic any place that it's buried and not exposed to sunlight. And then when it exits at the street, it has to come up to a regular hydrant, a bury of a minimum of 24 inches, or if it's subject to vehicular travel, it has to be 36 inches below grade, where vehicles might be parked on top of it. Here he's met the requirement 2 times over, so in this scenario we'd be able to draw a lot of water. We'd be able to put a clapper device onto our engine and actually put 2 hose lines onto it and draw twice as much water out of it.